Okay, I'm here.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to my first permaculture project. My name is Nicole, but everyone calls me Nikki. And today I'll be presenting Luminary Holistic Garden located here in Da Nang, Vietnam. First of all, before we get started, I just want to first thank my mentor, Mei. Thank you so much for your sincere kindness, your knowledge, and sharing your support. Okay, so let's get started. So I'll just start with a little bit about me. I'll try to keep this presentation under 10 minutes. Um, so I was born and raised in Canada, and I've always been enthralled by the beauty of nature and the elements of the natural world. I think that's what made me quite different from others who lived in the city, my friends, and those just around me. I was excited to learn about permaculture because it was so in alignment with my natural desires and my beliefs of the natural world. And so I just wanted to get that chance to dive into that. And I really got to do that now that I live here in Da Nang, Vietnam, and being around nature. My husband and I was really excited to get into this project together and share and embrace a whole way of bringing a whole system design into an urban dwelling. We've been living here in Vietnam for over 4 years. So I get more into my design thesis and mission statement here. The focus really is being on how we can apply the problems that are associated with living in an urban dwelling and in urban areas as solutions. Since statistics do show that mainly most people do live in populated areas such as cities and just urban dwellings. So feel free to read more about this with my design statement and the backstory when you get a chance. So with the main goals, we found that through the stakeholders interview with the landowners as well as with each other, we had very similar personal and shared goals that we could find here. The personal goals are established under a 2-year plan, as you can see right here. And we wanted to focus on the guiding principles within permaculture, such as people care, fair share, and earth care. So you can kind of definitely see that when you compare the personal and shared goals that we have. So this is our site, a very general map of our site. As I said, we're located in Da Nang, Vietnam. It's a south central city. It's on the coast, and we're located in Zone 12. Our home is a newly renovated concrete house, which is split into 2 units that you could see here. This is where we reside, and this is where the family that owns this whole property resides. And then this outdoor area is attached to our space. And just to quickly mention, the north is facing right here in this direction. So I get more into this information on the sectors map, but on the property, just to quickly let you know, we have a non-functional well, we have a functional well, and we have a tea tree, which is located in the garden. And that tea tree is also used medicinally. So boundaries have always been very important to me. So for my zone 0, you could say I have the daily self-care, which is very important. So I didn't want to focus on that too much. That is something that's very ritualistic for me at this point. I would feel off if I didn't do my daily rituals. So on this map, I do locate where I do my yoga, my meditation, as well as my moon journaling, etc. For this project, I really, again, wanted to focus on the third ethic of permaculture, which is about sharing. Because I've always been quite introverted and reserved, it was time for me, I felt, to come out of my cave, especially in this time of the pandemic, and to share my knowledge and my voice. So I felt this permaculture project really helped me to gain that experience, to be confident to do that. Again, this aligns with the third ethic, which is about sharing resources like knowledge and experience and paying it forward for the future. So you can go over the zone maps when you get a chance to see the other specified areas of the zone map. So this is the overview of the influences that are beyond my control. This analysis did help me to harness and leverage the observed patterns of nature, as well as turn what many would find as problems in major cities into solutions. Some of the other influences, as you can see, that are beyond our control includes this being a rental property. We are very limited to what we can do here and what we would want to invest in a rental property. Also, the artificial structures surrounding the property, which creates various microclimates, which again can be used as a solution, as well as pedestrian traffic and noise pollution. This chart shows our current resources that are available to us, which really helped me to get to know what capitals we have available, which includes our personal expertise and community supports. So the edges and microclimates map really helps me to look at the bigger picture of how we can work with the various temperatures that are on our site rather than against them. I mentioned that in the sectors map. Planting shade-loving plants in the areas that have low sunlight, for example, and growing vegetables in the areas that need lots of sun, for example, tomatoes, will help us to minimize the demands on us later. So again, it's working with what we have, working with nature, working with the elements rather than against them. So this was one of my favorite maps because it really helped me see how everything works together. And it taught me how to envision how all the moving parts come together and become this one whole resilient whole systems design. It also showed me how we can start small, working with clotheslines, working with technology that is appropriate, and to produce little to no waste. So again, since one of the problems on the sectors map was that this was a rental property for us, we found that we had to come up with solutions that were cost effective, that didn't have major investment. And we came up with the two options for water use and conservation. So option one we came up with was for bucketing using gray water system as well as rainwater catchment, working with the natural elements such as rain in order to catch water to then put back into the soil. Option two we have is that if the homeowners are willing to invest just a little bit, we came up with a simple soaker hose irrigation system, which I did design here, where you just see the soaker and how it will flow throughout the garden in order to have just a minimal irrigation system that can also prevent evaporation loss. Either way, with both of the methods, we do expect that we will be able to reduce water waste by up to 80%. So that's still really good for us. So you can take a look at the common paths, patterns, and flows on this map that I take on the property, but I'm going to move on to the energy, technology, and transportation. So very quickly, this is what we currently use. We use clothes hangers to dry our clothes into, we don't own an actual dryer. It's very sunny here, why? So I would be. We own 2 electronic bikes to get around the city. Motorcycles and bikes are very common to use in Southeast Asian countries, and we just wanted to reduce the pollution in the environment. So we found that the electronic bikes give the same way of getting around, but without, the pollution. We mainly cook our meals at home. We don't order out, and we prep our meals a week ahead. So this is what I came up with for our design. I wanted to focus on community, sharing, vegetation, and sharing knowledge to the community, doing things such as seed cycling and sharing the wisdom of medicinal plants and food as medicine. So I wanted to introduce plants in the garden that we eat mostly, of course, for obvious reasons, but also medicinal herbs and vegetables that are commonly eaten within Vietnamese cuisine so that our neighbors can also enjoy as well, and to also create a system with perennials and annual vegetables that will be scattered throughout the garden for natural pest control. So given the limited garden space that we have, I found that a herb spiral would be beneficial as in the area that we have the non-functional well, which is located on the sectors map. Given that deep-rooted vegetables cannot be planted there, we were able to think that the herb spiral will work in that area and building up the herb spiral so that would be perfect solution for that garden bed. The spiral would include both local and Western culinary and medicinal herbs. And so that is located right here, as you can see the example. This map shows the various capitals, both social and invisible. Feel free to take a look at it as well when you're interested, if you're interested. Let's move on to the implementation and the phase mapping. So as you can see here, I wanted to really focus on the soil replenishment of the garden. I mentioned that in the sectors map as well. I didn't state it, but the soil was actually beach soil, about 80% beach soil, about 20% garden soil. given that what the homeowners wanted to do with the property before. So I was really focusing on improving the soil and taking out the debris out of the soil from previous constructions that have been on site over time. So we wanted to focus 3 months on that. Which I go more into information here and on the next few slides. Phase 2, we wanted to focus on optimizing the water catchment and flow, picking an option that would be best for us. And phase 3 would be implementation of the actual garden and working on the container gardening. So again, I get more into that here. You can take a look at that when you get a chance. We did start phase 1, just to let you know, we have started that, replenishing the soil. We removed the tiles and we're using those tiles that were in the garden bed as for the herb spiral itself. So that nothing is waste. As you can see, nature wastes nothing. So we wanted to really focus on that and produce little waste. So we're going to use that to build the herb spiral back up. And also within the garden bed for the soil, we wanted to focus on the lasagna method because we cook a lot at home. We have a lot of juicing, lot of I forgot what it's called, from the juicing, the pulp from the juicing, as well as food that people would consider as scraps. We put them in the garden bed and we created this lasagna method so that it would get time to replenish and break down, and we've seen a lot of results from that. That's implementation phase 2, again, water catchment, and implementation phase 3. So we wanted to look here at the species list. The species list just quickly shows the vegetables and herbs that we chose based on the stakeholders interviews and what we mainly eat and what we want to share. And so you can take a look at that as well when you get an opportunity to. The maintenance plan, very quickly, it's going to be divided into the 4 seasons and what you have to do from spring to winter. So the main problem that this program helped me to solve is that it made me feel more empowered to share my voice and knowledge and to bring permaculture principles into an urban setting. The problems that the permaculture design had helped me solve was to work with the seasons and support biodiversity within this landscape. We do live in a city, and I feel like this is where permaculture is needed the most. So being able to implement that wherever we can, wherever we go, and to give those tools to others, to share with others, sharing that connection and knowledge, finding new solutions and ideas that we have with the many problems living within the city, getting creative. That was all what this whole program did help me with. Even though it was a lot of information, it became overwhelming at times. It was still very rewarding, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank you guys. Thank you, Milling, and thank you, Women Permaculture Guild, for this opportunity, for this study. Thank you so much. And I would like to end with this final quote: "The greatest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will save it." Thank you.